What is it Saudi Arabia fears from Iran?
I don't fear Iran. I think Iran, and I've said this in the past, is a paper tiger. It is a paper tiger with steel claws. And it is these steel claws that it uses to serve its purposes. Hezbollah, the groups in Iraq that they have developed over the past 10 years since the fall of Saddam Hussein, and now they're trying to develop a militia in Syria, trained by Hezbollah. They have their operatives in Bahrain. There is a Hezbollah for Bahrain. I don't know if you know that or not. There is a Hezbollah for the Hijaz. All of these so-called Hezbollah groups were established by the late Khomeini when he came to power. And their aim was to infiltrate the Shia communities throughout the Muslim world and convert them to the Ayatollah Wilayat Faqih concept of Khomeini that he introduced into the Shia theological setup. And they operate. There's a Hezbollah in Pakistan, in Germany. You will find people there who have been inducted into the Wilayat Faqih ideology of Khomeini and who go back to Iran to be trained and then are sent to Germany to infiltrate the Shia community in Germany and make them loyal to Khamenei, the present successor of Khomeini. And this is in all the Shia communities throughout the Muslim world. And these are the ones that I call the steel claws, because they are the ones who can cause problems for the communities of Muslims wherever they may be, whether it be a Muslim country or a non-Muslim country. Mm-hmm. And that is my view, where Iran is very active in promoting its interests.
How does the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia address Iran's rising influence?
Well, you have to, first of all, present this picture to the world community as being a reality. And secondly, the Muslim people are 1,500,000,000 Muslims. The Wilayat al-Faqih ideology within the Shia concept of Islam is still a minority among a majority of the Shia. So in terms of weight and prestige and volume, it is just a small portion of this 1.5 billion people throughout the world. So better information on them, more exposure of their activities, and equally an ideological engagement with people to show that this is what is happening on the ground.
How would the Iranian nuclear bomb change the political landscape in the Middle East?
Let me start by saying that the nuclear issue in negotiating with Iran from the beginning, 10, 11 years ago, when Germany, France, and the UK, the P3, if you remember, began to negotiate with Iran, it began on the wrong foot. Mm-hmm. The three Western countries approached Iran at that time, if you remember, with a carrot and stick approach. And it was described by Western officials as being a carrot and stick approach. Now, the problem with that, of course, is twofold. One, it immediately makes the Iranians suspicious of intentions on the other side. And secondly, the stick never really works, because there is no conclusion to it.
Some would say that a preemptive strike on Iran is a necessity to stop Iran's nuclear program. Would you agree?
I say it started on the wrong foot, because the right foot, if it was used 10 years ago, before all the effort was made over the last 10 years to get to where we are today, where the unilateral military option is discussed seriously by President Obama and the Israeli Prime Minister and others like that, the right foot would have been to propose and to put in place the zone free of weapons of mass destruction. Provide a guarantee, two guarantees to that zone. The first guarantee is economic and technical support for the countries that join to develop civilian peaceful uses of nuclear energy. And the second guarantee in that, the part of that guarantee is a nuclear security umbrella for the member countries of the zone.
Is it too late for that? Is it too late for that?
No, it's never too late for that. My view is that this should have been done 10 years ago, but it's still viable today.
And that would include Israel, certainly.
Absolutely. And the guarantee will have to be from the 5 permanent members of the Security Council.
What does President Obama need to do now in his second term to help create a nuclear-free zone in the Middle East?
What he can do is come together with Mr. Putin, the new leader in China, Hollande and Cameron, and say, we, the permanent 5 members of the Security Council, want to see in the Middle East a zone free of weapons of mass destruction with these 2 guarantees that I mentioned earlier. And we invite the countries of the zone to come and discuss this idea, and we have a 5-year timeline for accomplishing and establishing the zone.
What options does Saudi Arabia have if Iran manages to build a nuclear bomb?
I said in the past, publicly, in a conference here last year, that Saudi Arabia and her GCC partners must look at all options and study them carefully, including the option of acquiring nuclear weapons. But we have to have a thorough study of all of these options. Where are our alternatives and where we want to go with our own future? Because it's not just Iran, it's also Israel. Israel already has, 200, 300 warheads and delivery capability from German submarines and other means of delivery. So that is something I think that Saudi Arabia and the GCC countries owe their people, is to look at these options.
What would be the consequences of an Israeli attack on Iran's nuclear facilities? What would be the outcome?
That would be a catastrophic eventuality. It will be total mayhem. The civilian casualties will be enormous. The retaliatory capability of Iran, as I mentioned to you, is worldwide because of these steel claws that it has in every Shia community in the world. And we are right in the middle of it. So we will be the first victims. Imagine if there is a nuclear installation is destroyed in Iran and there is fallout from weather conditions, rain, wind, and so on, coming to our side of the Gulf. We're the first victims. Iran will retaliate against everybody. It's not going to be pinprick.
And how could they do that, especially in Saudi Arabia?
They have missiles, they have suicide bombers, they have agents. As I told you, they have these steel claws. If Israel attacks Iran, what it will mean is that the Iranian people will coalesce around the government and come and support it.